Hello students, this video is in continuation with my previous two video on general account of ginger manuals. And in this video, I am going to share with you general account of ginger manuals acrogyny. So let's start the video. Students, you know very well, acrogyny is the group where apical cell is utilized in the formation of archegonia. So the ginger mani or acrogyny, the archegonia are born at the apex of the shoot and the apical cell is being utilized in their formation. It comprises 80% of the Hepaticopsida and there are about 220 genera and 8500 species. Evans in 1938 divided the suborder into 17 families. The well-known genera from these families are Porella and Frulenia. Porella is also known as Madotheca. It belongs to family Porelaceae, also known as Madothecaceae, and the second family is Fruleniaceae. And here are the images of Porella and Frulenia. Next is structure of gametophyte. The gametophyte here is a leafy thallus. So they are also called as foliose liverwort. But there are some few exceptions and example are Harvelta and Anthelia, where it is prostate to decumbent in habit and dorsiventral in configuration. The plant body is differentiated into a central axis or stem bearing leaf-like appendages. The stem is generally branched, as you can see in this image of Porella. There is a central axis and leaf-like appendages are there. Same time, the central axis is branched, as you can see here, vegetative branch. The branching is monopodial and never dichotomous, as you can see in this image. The branch arises beside the leaf and is never axillary. The thallus is usually attached to the substratum by rhizoids which are simple unicellular and smooth-walled. The ventral scale and tuberculate rhizoids are absent in this group. The whole thallus consists of uniform green parenchymal cells. Air chambers and air pores are absent in the internal structure, as you have seen in the Markensia. So students, you can see here the central axis is there, which is called as stem, and it wears lateral, dorsal and ventral lobes. The ventral lobes are small and they are called as amphigastra. The central axis and its branches wear leaf-like appendages, as I explained to you. The leaf is invariably without a midrib and consists of single layer of cells containing chloroplast. Majority of the acrogynous ginger manuals are anisophilous, means they have two types of leaves. So they wear leaves of two sizes and shapes arranged in a spiral manner in 3 rows on the stem. Two of these rows consist of large dorsal leaves placed laterally on each side of the stem. As you can see here, lateral leaves which are placed on the two sides of the stem. The third row consists of small, more or less reduced ventral leaves, usually called the amphigastra or underleaves. So you can see here the ventral leaves which are small in size and they are on the under surface, and these are called as amphigastra or underleaves. Here you can see same arrangement in Prulenia also, that also bear anisophilous type of leaf in 3 rows, and the under surface or the ventral leaves are known as amphigastra. So students, except Porella and Frulenia, which are common example of anisophilous ginger manuals, some genera are there like Harvelta and Anthelia, where the erect gametophyte is radially symmetrical. Here the erect stem bears 3 rows of similar radially arranged leaves which are called as isophilous, and each is cleft to the base into two tapering lobes. The dorsal or lateral leaves are close set on the central axis and its branches overlap. The overlapping is of two types in these cases, that is succubus and incubus. In the former, the posterior margin of each leaf overlies the forward edge of the next older leaves on the same side in dorsal view. And the example are Cephalosia, Lophocolia and Lophosia. Means here posterior margin of each leaf overlies the forward edge of the next older leaves on the same side. The overlapping is reversed in the cubus arrangement. Means anterior margin overlies the forward edge of the next older leaves. So the apical growth always takes place by means of single apical cell. That's why we called it acrogyny, and the arrangement is pyramidal in shape. So students, you can see that in this group we have two types of arrangement of the leaves, that is anisophilous or isophilous. In Porella and Fullinia, the arrangement is anisophilous, and that is more important here. So you need to focus on the Porella and Fullinia, where we have three rows of the cells. Two are lateral and third one is ventral, which is small in size and called as amphigastra. Next is reproduction. In acrogyny gingermanials, reproduction takes place by both vegetative as well as sexual means. As usual, vegetative reproduction takes place by fragmentation, gamete, leafy propagules, etc. Several species of leafy form withstand drying for a considerable period without apparent injury. Means they parinate the unfavorable condition, and whenever there is return of favorable condition, the apparently dried up specimens resume growth and become green. Next is sexual reproduction. Some acrogyny gingermanials are monoecious and some are dioecious. The monoecious form may be autoecious or pariecious. In the autoecious species, Anthridia and Archegonia occur on different branches of the same plant, and the example is Cephalosia. While in monoecious paroecious species, both kinds of sex organs close to one another are present on the same branch, and the example is Cephaloxerovira. The sex organs are superficial and projecting. For example, Anthridia. The Anthridia occur in groups of 2 to 4, sometimes singly in the axil of modified leaves called as paragonial bracts or the ordinary branch. As you can see in this image, here is paragonial bract, which covers the Anthridium. The mature Anthridium is globose in form and is raised on a long stalk, as you can see in this image. Anthridial wall, which encloses the sperm mother cell, is usually one cell layer thick in the upper part and 2 to 3 cell thick in the dorsal part. The anthridial mother cell will undergo division and will produce anthrazoids, which finally assume the shape of sperms, which are biflagellated so that they can reach up to the archegonia. Next is archegonia. They occur singly or in small groups and are apical in position. So you can see here archegonia. As they are apical in position, that's why we call this group as a acrogynous. The archegonia are surrounded and protected by a special envelope known as the perianth. So you can see here the perianth which surround the archegonia. It is found by lateral fusion of 2 or 3 terminal pericytial bracts. In some species, there is additional another envelope external to the perianth. When it is present, it is known as involucre. The shape of perianth varies in different species. The mature archegonium is stalked, and the archegonial neck consists of 5 vertical rows of neck cells. They encloses neck canal. The basal portion of archegonium is venter, containing small egg and venter canal cell above it. So you can see here the structure in Cephalosia. There are paragonial bracts, pericytial bracts, and the perianth which encloses the archegonia, and the each archegonium is stalked and bears neck canal cell, and venter canal cell, as well as egg. Here you can see again perigonial bracts, pericytial bracts, perianth, and the female branch which finally mature into sporophyte bearing long seta and capsule. Next is fertilization. Descent of the sex organs and fertilization takes place in the presence of water, that is provided by the rain or the dewdrops. Sperm from the dicyst antheridia swim and reach to the archegonia and finally to the egg. One of them, probably the first to reach, fuses with the egg and form zygote. Zygote after division and redivision form the sporophyte. So you can see here the structure of mature sporophyte. The terminal sporophyte is differentiated into foot, long setae, and a wide capsule. The ripe capsule consists of spores and free elaters. There is no elatrophore except in the Goldstia. The capsule wall is 2 or more cell layer in thickness. The cells of the inner layer generally develop spiral thickening. So students, you can see here the wall of the capsule, and the spores are produced inside the capsule from the spore mother cell by undergoing meiosis division. The resultant cells either develop into spore or into the elaters. In image C you can see spores, while in D you can see spirally arranged elaters. The function of elater is in dispersal of spore. The spore mother cells are conspicuously four-lobed, and descent is by means of four valves, as you can see in this image. The spores disperse in the air and settle down on the suitable habitat, where they germinate to form new gametophyte. So students, that's all about the general account of suborder Acrogyne. I hope you understood this topic. Thank you for listening.